One Sunday, Chike and his mother returned from church, but could not believe their eyes. His mansion was filled with strangers moving around freely as loud music blasted from speakers. His mother started screaming immediately, demanding to know what was happening, insisting he did something. Chike told his mother to wait in the car as he stepped out, his heart pounding with rage and confusion. He pushed through the crowd looking for Adanna, but she was nowhere to be found. She had to be drunk somewhere, he thought, passed out from her own recklessness. He went upstairs to check her room. Unfortunately, she forgot to lock the door. He pushed it open and stopped dead. Adanna sat at a desk, completely sober, completely focused, staring at her laptop with headphones on. The room was quiet and organized as she was focused studying. Chike tried to ignore this discovery and focus on his anger. "Adanna, what is going on downstairs?" he demanded. Adanna turned from her laptop slowly, looked at him like it was an annoying interruption. "Please, can you leave here and shut that door?" she said calmly. "You interrupted my class." Chike stared at her with unbelief, his mouth open in shock. Before he could say something else, he heard a loud crash from downstairs, the unmistakable sound of glass shattering. He turned and ran out. Adanna stood up and locked her door as she laughed excitedly. Her plan was well executed. By the time Chike got downstairs, the compound was emptying fast. He also discovered that nothing was broken. It was just a sound from one of the speakers. People fled through the gate, laughing and shouting. Within minutes, his property was nearly empty, except for the mess they had left behind. Mamanuku stood in the middle of it all, shaking with fury, screaming about disrespect and wickedness and sending that girl back to the gutter where they found her. It finally dawned on them that Adanna did everything intentionally to make them mad, and it worked. Adanna stayed locked up in her room until Chike hired professional cleaners to restore order to his house. When the house was finally clean, Adanna came out from her room. By then, Chike and his mother were out handling their various businesses. She went into the kitchen and cooked different irresistibly attractive dishes and arranged everything beautifully on the dining table. Then she left a note on the table saying, "I'm sorry." When they returned, his mother cared less and said Adanna was just trying to avoid being sent back to the village. She told Chike to throw it all away to teach Adanna a lesson. But Chike could not. He sat down and ate the food, and it tasted like everything he had taken for granted. It wasn't long before his mother, who couldn't pretend anymore, came and joined him. Despite everything Adanna had done and kept doing, Chike found himself softening. He blamed himself for how cruel Adanna had turned out, but hid it. His mother hated Adanna more with each passing day, threatening constantly to send her back to the gutters where they had found her. 6 days passed, 6 days without seeing Adanna. She did not come out of her room, she did not cook or clean or interact with them at all. It was the longest she had ever stayed hidden. Chike tried to pretend he did not care, but it ate at him. Every day, the worry grew. Every night, he would pause outside her door, listening for sounds of life, too proud to knock, too afraid to find out what her silence meant. On the 10th day, he could not bear it anymore. He knocked on her door, no answer. He knocked again, harder, still nothing. Finally, he tried the handle, and it opened. The room was empty. Adanna was gone. The room looked like no one had ever lived there, just bare furniture and emptiness. Chike stood at the doorway and felt the world tilt beneath his feet. Adanna had finally left him. His mother was overjoyed when he told her. She practically danced around the parlor, thanking God for removing the thorn from their sides. She immediately called her friends, asking them to find a proper wife for her son. But Chike was not happy. He tried to hide it, tried to act normal for his mother's sake, but every day his unhappiness grew heavier. 2 weeks passed in misery. His mother kept bringing girls to meet him, and he was getting fed up. Finally, he made a decision. He told his mother he needed to check on one of his rental properties in the next state. He said he would be gone for a few days, but he drove straight to Adanna's village. When he got to her family's compound, it looked deserted. An old man answered and told him the family had moved out long ago. He turned to leave defeated, But the old man called after him and gave him directions to their new house. Chike drove to the new address, his heart pounding. The house was indeed larger, beautiful, and better. He parked outside and sat in his car for a long moment, gathering courage. What would he say? How could he explain himself? How could he ask her to come back after everything? Then he saw her. Adanna walked out of the gate dressed nicely, looking like she was heading somewhere. She looked healthy, beautiful even, in a way he had never fully appreciated before. She was laughing at something someone inside had said. Chike jumped out of his car and ran toward her. Adanna, please wait. She saw him and her face changed. Get off my way, she yelled at him. Please, I just want to talk. I was poor all my life, but I never knew the kind of misery you and your mom put me through, she said, her voice shaking. The words hit him like physical blows. He dropped right there in the street, kneeling in the dirt, not caring who saw, and continued pleading. Your mom has sent you to come bring back her slave, right? I'm sorry, you both have failed, Adanna said as she pushed past him and kept walking. But Chike did not give up. He came back the next day, and the next, and the next. For 2 months, he made the long drive from Benin City to her village and back, sometimes 3 times a week. He would knock on her gate. He would beg to see her. Sometimes she refused to come out. Sometimes she came out just to yell at him. Other times, she just stood there in silence while he talked all he wanted. Her parents watched all of this. They saw this wealthy man humbling himself, driving hours just to be rejected. After the first month, they started to feel pity for him. They began talking to Adanna, suggesting that maybe he had changed, that maybe his suffering showed genuine remorse. But Adanna refused. She said they did not understand what she had been through, and she insisted that she would rather die than return to that house. 4 months passed. 4 months of Chike's persistent visits, 4 months of rejection and tears and begging. His mother still did not know where he kept disappearing to. She thought he was handling business. She kept pressuring him to marry one of the girls she had selected, but he kept making excuses and delaying. 2 months later, Chike arrived at her gate as usual. When Adanna came out, Chike froze. She was wearing a loose dress, and underneath it, unmistakably, was the curve of pregnancy. You cheated on me with someone else? The words came out before he could stop them. Adanna's face transformed with rage. How dare you? She screamed at him. Do you think I'm irresponsible and evil like you? This is a child I would have lost like the 2 others if I had not left your evil house. She was sobbing now, the words pouring out with all the pain she had been holding. Chike bent, covering his face in shame. He had killed his own children through his cruelty. He sank to his knees again, but this time he could not speak. He just cried, his whole body shaking with the weight of what he has done. I'm sorry, he finally whispered. Adanna, I'm so sorry. I was evil. I was wicked. But please, give me a chance to right all my wrongs. Let me be a real husband to you. Adanna just shook her head and walked back inside, leaving him kneeling in her driveway. But Chike did not stop. He kept coming back. He even started bringing gifts. He also talked and pleaded with her parents. Fortunately, her parents continued to advocate for him. In the 5th month of her pregnancy, Adanna finally agreed to give him a second chance. Chike bought a new mansion in a different part of the city and kept the location from his mother. He cut contact with his mother completely, though he still checked on her secretly to make sure she was not in danger. Adanna moved into the new house with him in her 6th month. The house was beautiful, bigger than the old one. Chike had already arranged a nursery for their baby. He hired housekeepers and told Adanna she never had to do anything. And oh, how he spoiled her. He would watch Adanna constantly, looking for any sign that she was unhappy or uncomfortable, and was ready to fix any problem immediately. Adanna was shocked by this transformation. You're so different now, she said. I didn't know you could be this kind. Chike looked at her. Yes, I wasn't like this, he admitted. I had to learn after I realized I might lose you forever. I had to become the kind of man who deserved you. And I'm still learning. 1 week later, Adanna gave birth to their son. Chike held his son and cried again. Thank you, he whispered to Adanna. Thank you for giving me another chance. Adanna smiled tiredly. For the first time in his life, Chike chose his wife over his mother. Chike and Adanna built a real marriage from the ruins of a false one. The trauma did not disappear just because he apologized, but they walked through it together, building trust slowly, one day at a time. And oh, how happy they became.